Here's today's book. Let me change this camera angle here. So today's book is Running with Scissors by, is it Augusten or Augusten Burrough. Interesting thing about this book, the first thing I actually think about is, well, as soon as I say that, channel about three things. Alright, let's start with the first thing I was going to say. Alright, so, turns out he's related to a guy named John Elder Robison. I figured this out because one of the focuses of the book is his mom named, I think, is it Margaret Robison, or... Anyway, I looked up her because I was wanting to read about her poetry, and I was like, yeah, these are real people. This is a memoir, so, and they're very intriguing, so I want to see, actually see what they look like, and haven't found any of her poems yet, but I haven't really looked very hard. Maybe have to buy them or something. But I found it was related to this guy, John Elder Robison. That's his brother. And I was like, oh shit, I know this dude. He did this book called Look Me in the Eye. And it's like one of these, I don't know if you call it a foundational text on Asperger's, if they even call it, if people call it that. I like that distinction. But I don't know if I read that book, but he at least wrote another book about Asperger's. Can't remember right now what it's called. I could look it up, blah, blah, blah. But so can you, bitches, whoever you are. You could look it up, but Look Me in the Eye, whatever. I read the book, whichever one it was, and probably should read both of them, but I started writing things down, because at the time I thought I had Asperger's. Whether I have it or not is still an ongoing debate from some people. But I wrote down, it's 13 or so things that he said about, people with Asperger's. Usually I can make eye contact with people, but I can't remember all what was on the list. But it was just 13 or so things, maybe more, that made me think of, maybe I had Asperger's. So it was really trippy to find that out. And there was a character, I didn't write it in my outline, but I think does he have several brothers? And so he writes about this one brother. I wasn't sure if he was talking about that one, because I thought he said his name was Tony. There are so many characters in this book. That's the only knock. I can't even say it's a knock on the book. It's just a knock from what I like about books. Because he would mention a character, I'm like, who the fuck is he talking about? Because I can't keep that many characters in my head. If you read any of my short stories, I hardly have any characters. Usually, sometimes just literally the protagonist, that's all you got. But yeah, when it's ensemble cast, I get lost in the shuffle. Too many names, too many personalities, I forget what the fuck is going on. So I like to keep a small cast. But the other thing, I've seen the movie for this. Yappy dogs. You can see them running at me, about to bite my heels. So I have to review while I'm having my heels bitten. Let's see. Here's the walk in front of me. Good old Cottontown, Tennessee, y'all. Technically Cross Plains or whatever, I think, but whatever. But it is Cottontown officially where we are, but the nearest one's actually Cross Plains. So I watched the movie. I need to rewatch it. I was reading about it on Rotten Tomatoes, though, and apparently it's not a very well-reviewed movie. So maybe it's like that. So I really don't remember. I remember I was talking to this chick. It was one of friends of Cassie's friends, Taylor Caldwell, which I think is also the name of a writer. I showed her. I was like, look, there's a writer in your name. Taylor Caldwell. And she told me about how she read the book while I'd seen the movie. And so I went over to Kay's house, and she had the book. So I was like, hey, I'll trade you Ender's Game, because Ender's Game is your favorite. And I've just finished it, and I give away books after I read them, and she gave me this one. So I got this from while I was in St. George, Utah. I thought about trying to review it while there, but I was like, I'm not going to have enough time. I wasn't enough pages in, and I was just too many things going on. So I decided I'll wait till I get home, I'll read a little bit more, and I'll review it now. So if you can see, I'm not even halfway through. But I feel like I have a feel... There's a little bit of noise. Hopefully it doesn't drown out this audio. But I feel like I have enough... actually I'm going to cut and get a little bit further. It's just no other reason, just to share the environment. So hold on. Alright. Got a little bit more distance. You can see all the lovely trees. It's like an inside joke. I call Tennessee the tree state sometimes. Because there's so many goddamn trees. It's pretty here. In Utah, you don't get that. So I was telling Kay, I was like, yeah, it's pretty here. And I loved Gunlog Falls. It's an amazing place when it's raining. But it's like if you go on a walk in Utah, or even the California area mostly, I think, areas like that where there's just not a lot of trees, it's like there's no mystery to the walk. It's like I can see what I'm gonna see, you know. But when you're in Tennessee, you can have waterfalls and shit, and they'll hide the trees, you know, or waterfalls. The trees will hide the waterfalls, and you know, whatever. And you'll hear like, you're like, I hear water, but I can't tell where it's coming from, you know. It's like a mystery when you're walking, you know, always hiding secrets, but it's like wide open, you know, like, yeah, I can see all the secrets. So anyway, apropos of nothing, as we're still book talking. Just a beautiful area, I like it. Of course, I wish I was a little bit more east. Oh, here's those cows that attacked me and Chels one day. Anyway, I feel like even though I haven't read half of it yet, you know, I'll update it in the little description if I have a change of heart. But I feel like I have a pretty good handle on where this, not necessarily where the book's going. Like, I can predict the plot, but I feel like I have an understanding what I'm going to experience and how I'm going to enjoy the book. And I have very positive things to say. I would definitely read another memoir like this, like another one of those weird, kind of just a lot of weird happenings, you know, almost like, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is the game Deadly Premonition, kind of, just, it's like a lot of awkward characters that are just intriguing, you know, and, I don't know, oh, look at this baby calf over here, what a sweet cafe, look at that little thing, but, yeah, it's a really intriguing book. I'm gonna have a lot to show. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. There would be a lot to show. You know, I only read like half of it. I had to skip, like, you know, because I write down intriguing paragraphs. I was like, I want to share this. And there was a lot that if it was any other book, I would have included. But I was like, man, there's just too many intriguing paragraphs. So I want to get like a little bit of everything. So, man, I could just like quote, like you could just sit there and like pull just amusing quotes from this book all day, I feel like. I don't know, maybe that's hyperbole. Alright. Oh yeah, here, like, here's the stream, a nice little rivulet here, and on the other side it's like a little dam or something. Beautiful little area. It's like living in Scotland or something. It's like the fucking plot of Rawhead Rex where the demon comes out. It's gonna be up here. But yeah, man, it's not. Oh shit, hold on. Now I have the word inesculent in my mind. I remember I was trying to write down. It's like inesculent would be a good word. It's like inedible. It's like that'd piss somebody off. You just threw that out naturally. This taco is inesculent, and they're like, "Fuck you, you're an ass. You're pretentious, pseudo-intellectual piece of shit." And I'm like, yeah, I trolled somebody with my vocab, boy. Anyway, that's how I like to use words, the troll peeps. Actually, I was like, you know, I probably could hang out in this field over here. I might do that unless somebody comes out and yells at me. I've done that before. I don't think anybody has done that, so I'll do that today. But it's a great book. There's not a lot. Speaking of sesquipedalians, there's not a lot of big words in here, so you know, it doesn't have the purple. What do you call it? Purple prose. It's not necessarily beige prose either. There was a really good quote. Ah, fuck, I have it on my phone. I tried to memorize it. Here, let me pull my phone out if I can. Ah, jeez Louise. Alright. I'll show you guys where I'm going to be going. I can't even see. I haven't even turned. Here, let me turn this thing around. There we go. Bonk. So I'm going to sit over here if I can. Oh, there's some stuff. Maybe I shouldn't sit over here. I don't know. Alright, you know what? I'm just going to sit anyway. Alright. I gotta chill. So, and I gotta find that quote. So, here's this book. I feel like I gotta keep showing. Lost my. Oh shit, there's like water on the lens. Hold on. Alright. There's one quote I wanted to, like, specifically I wrote down because I liked it. Reminded me of something I said. After was better. Before was only there so after could happen. That's what I think a lot about, like, stories. I'm like, man, it's awful when it's happening, but it's cool if I survive this because, you know, I know this will be a good story later. It's like I modified a Nietzsche quote, like, whatever doesn't kill you makes your party story stronger. Something like that. Some silly shit like that. Alright, what else is there? Oh yeah, so the dude, goddamn, was it Augustine? I can't remember if he goes by anything else now. But he has this lover, and he's like, oh, I'm going to show this paragraph, so I'm like debating how much, like I try to, if I go into a paragraph, sometimes I cut off part of it, you know, or like don't talk about it, but he has this 33-year-old lover, and he's only like 13, you know, and so that's part of the story. In the back, I don't know if it's in the back, just straight up, I don't know if I like how they word it here. You can see a little paragraph on the bottom, on the back. It says, Burrough found himself amidst Victorian squalor, blah, 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 the doctor's bizarre family, and befriending a pedophile who resided in the backyard shed. And I feel like that's misleading, because I had that in my mind. Oh, he's going to befriend this pedophile in the backyard shed. That's a weird way of how they put it. I was like, it doesn't really match up to what I expected was going to happen. But he ends up falling in love with this dude. And so I don't know how that plays out yet. But there's another parallel, like one of the other girls in the house, gets married, I think, to an even older guy, and then they fight or something. Alright, what else was there gonna be? And then he talked about Fern, who I can't remember who Fern was, but she's like has this he thinks is a normal family. He's like, oh, she's like married to a minister, and then dude walks in on Fern going down on his mom, like just make a gif. Alright, I'm not gonna do the whole, like, what is it, like, Yahweh, whatever, face. Alright, I'll show it. Then they're like, I think they're going out for like is it a parade or something? But they put like balloons. They're like, let me put these breastloons on. They put like breastloons on the women, like Agnes in particular. And she's like, you're the symbol of the great breastfeeder. And so they try to put just like balloons on her tits. So weird. I can't remember if she's like, at least put them somewhere else too. And they're like, no, or something. I don't remember all the details. I wrote it down for whatever reason. But, oh yeah, anyway, he goes from this prim and proper kid, like, he's just like really, not quite Howard Hughes. It's weird because at one scene, he's with his dad, and he's like, I love the smell of junk, or whatever. It's like they're in the car loaded with junk. And this is why they're at their original house. And they're both talking about how like they love the smell of junk, and his dad could live next to a fucking trash heap or whatever. Well, it's weird because, yeah, I don't know, it's weird. But then he goes to live where he feels uncomfortable because there's like dogs shitting all over the place. The kids shit on the rug, and there's just food everywhere, just utter chaos. So it's like, you know, it's like the hero's journey or something in a post-modern way or some shit. I don't know. But, yeah, it's like a character arc. It almost seems like, almost feels like one of those manufactured ones in a kind of way, but just the way it's set up like that, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. But it's fascinating. It's good shit. I like the book. It's like full of little interesting anecdotes. Some of them are actually kind of relatable to shit I've gone through, so I know how it'd be living with crazy, I was gonna say poor people, but it's fucking, his mom abandons him, and then I'm right at the part where he has like legal ownership, you know, so it's like he's legally owned now by the fucking doctor. But he's a doctor, man. He should have a lot of money. But he just lives like a poor, he's like, this is a place for like rich people, and he has like the one sagging ass house. So silly. Is there anything else I need to write before I just go into all the quotes? Yeah, oh yeah, and he's eating dog food at one point. Like earlier, I was like, it actually tastes pretty good. But, yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to go into where I'm going to talk about the paragraphs from this, or like little excerpts, but I think I'm going to walk a little bit first. Maybe I'll find a better place. I feel weird kind of sitting over here. Alright, this is one of the scenes I think I talked about. This is early in the book, page 14, where he's like, now, Augusten, you've got to carry that bag. If you can't behave and carry that bag, I won't let you come to me to the dump. It's like their one activity him and his dad do is go to the dump. So silly. All excited. When the car is filled, I squeeze into the front seat between my father and one of the trash bags. The sour smell of old milk cartons, eggshells, and emptied ashtrays filled me with pleasure. My father, too, enjoyed the aroma. I rather like that smell, he commented as he made the 6-mile trip to the public dump. I wouldn't mind living next to a landfill. One bit. Fucking freak. This is, speaking of freaky, the masturbatorium. This is where the Dr. Finch, that's his name, Finch left. Do you use it between patients? Between patients, after patients, sometimes if a patient is particularly tedious, I will excuse myself to the masturbatorium. He picked up a copy of blah, blah, blah. The incredible woman, blah, blah, blah. So reading about. It always has a powerful effect on my libido. So he goes into his masturbatorium and jacks it, bitch. And he's like, says, I'm a man and I have needs, boy. Alright, cut. This is a reminder of how they treated gays like in the 80s or 90s. I'd never seen her, because the author is gay, and then he goes to have this gay lover that, what's his name? Fucking Neil Bookman or something. Anyway, I'd never seen a real live gay man in person before. Only on the Donahue show. I wondered what it would be like to see one without the title, Admitted Homosexual, floating in blocky type beneath his head. The good old days. I just, allegedly. Alright. This is right after he finds Fern going down his mom. Fern was a muff diver, and she was diving onto my mother's muff. No. Okay. So anyway, all that aside, his mom, super dramatic, and then his mom was all like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty out here, by the way. You can hear the birds and all that shit." But I get to use the N word, and I have justification for this time, so it's always a good time when I get to do that. All my life I have been oppressed, and all my life I have worked hard to fight this oppression. When I was before I start this, I need to read this page. Then it was as if the lighting changed and a camera slid down a set of rails, zooming into her face. A musical score practically filled the room. She stood in front of the window so that her nightgown filtered the sunlight, and her body glowed in silhouette through the fabric. And then, when I was a little girl living in Cairo, Georgia, I had a black nanny named Elsa who lived in a shack on the other side of town. She reached into her pocket and brought a cigarette to her lips, lighting it dramatically and exhaling a plume of smoke into the air. In those days, black people were called niggers, and I knew that the word nigger was a dirty word. And I'm going to stop doing that. It was a word filled with hatred and anger. And I knew that it was used to describe black people. I also knew that Elsa was no bleep. No, I won't do that. Elsa was no nigger. No, sorry. Elsa was no nigger. She paused to look me straight in the eyes. I knew it was wrong. She walked across the room and faced the wall. It has taken me all my life to find myself as an artist. She turned to face me. And to find myself as a woman. I've struggled against the oppression of my mother and the oppression of your father. And for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm truly able to claim myself. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. There's some parts on this page that are amusing too, so I'll just skip to the next page. I don't have to read all of it, because this stage of my life I do not need and will not accept more oppression. I've spent years, my entire life, fighting oppression. I hope I don't have to fight you too, she exhaled, closing her eyes and letting her chin sag down to her chest. It seemed that I should clap, but I didn't. Instead I said, "Okay, I don't care. Can I have $5? She smiled. "May I have $5? And yes, you may, if I have it. Go get my pocketbook and let me take a look." Silly, dramatic mama. This is, I don't remember who Geraldine was, but let's get to where the funny part, or whatever. And when Geraldine was gone, the screaming would begin. I don't care, she'd bellow from behind the closed bedroom door. Then something might crash against the wall. "I'm your wife, you cannot do this to me." Finch would always laugh. He found her fury absolutely hysterical. His face would grow red, and his eyes would tear. That's it. Sometimes he called somebody into the room just to watch Agnes in the blind mist of her rage. "Hope," he might bellow. "Your mother is having a fit of hysteria. It's spectacular." Oh, Lord, I love it. It reminds me of Chels. She'll start getting all pissed off and she starts saying funny shit. Makes me laugh. Anyway, cut. Oh, yeah, so... Oh, shit, it's all fucking blurry. I can't tell if this is the brother that John Robert Ellison... or whatever, just read this. This is correct me. "Sometimes my brother would drive by 67 and pick me up," that's their address, "new Oldsmobile Toronado. I would slide onto the brown velvet corduroy seat and he would say, 'This vehicle has quadraphonic sound. Do you know what that means?' When I would shake my head no, he would launch into a lengthy and highly technical explanation of the science behind quadraphonic sound and what exactly it meant from an audio engineering point of view. Then he would say, 'Now do you understand?' When I again shook my head no, he would shrug and say, 'Well, maybe you're retarded.'" I love that. So silly. Now we're talking about Neil after they just had sex for the first time, or Yeah, let's leave it at that. They're gay sex. Kevin, please come over for gay sex. Kingdom, phylum, order, whatever. Alright. Downstairs is a roommate sitting on the sofa, chain smoking and watching TV. I have a hunch that she is the failed attempt at heterosexuality. What are you, like 17? 13, I tell her. She is fat. She is fat in a way that suggests she always has been, always will be fat. Oh shit, it fatly blurred. When she raised her cigarette to her lips, I see that her fingernails are dirty and chewed. Her hair is a ravage of tangles, shoulder length, and the color of straw, blah, blah. She is too large for this cross. So, wait, I want to get the, where's that one point? Oh yeah, I tell her no after she asks for the beer. And, she strikes me as somebody who has tasted a lot of semen. I want to ask her if it all tastes like alfalfa sprouts or if it's just something funky with him. That's that Neil Bookman's, yeah. I mean, there's a whole scene. Cut. At the end of school days, right here, there's this thing. She's like, she was the whitest girl in school, even though she was black. She was Bill Cosby's daughter, and I loathe her for this. It's like with the whole context, right? You know, Bill Cosby. If only he knew. All right, that's a wrap, as they say. But it's not a wrap for me because I'm gonna keep reading this book, and I'll probably be like, God damn it, I wish I had that in the book report, that excerpt, because there's plenty of base excerpts in this base book, boy. So it's pretty rad so far. What I've read, totally recommend it. Go out there, sell your kidneys, and buy this book. Or how much is this book? It's fucking like $14. So is it showing the price of $14? So if your kidneys are only worth $14, that's because you've been drinking too much alcohol or something. Fuck you. Alright, bye. Oh yeah, Greg Huffman's book report. Not Joe, what's that? Greg Huffman's book report. Running with Scissors. Go fuck yourself.